the reboot of NXT, there has been a mixture of awesome and absurdity when it comes to NXT. Now, the last 2 weeks, they have leaned a little bit more into the absurd, not as much on the awesome. And, it's been not that great. But this episode of NXT still has some awesome things in it. Some things that were really fun that I enjoyed seeing. But there was also some stuff which I wish had never been filmed, let alone put on television for our consumption. But it was mostly an okay show. But I think they were once again taking some time to plant some seeds for future programs and future programming when it comes to NXT. They're not all going to be great shows, but they can't all be as bad as some of these segments were. The opening segment was pretty good, though. Mandy Rose starts the show. She gets a "You Deserve It" chant, which she says that she doesn't need the fans' approval, which was pretty good. She said she was a woman of her word, beat the unbeatable. Now she's the champion, and the belt looks better on her. And that Toxic Attraction had a hell of a Halloween Havoc. She then asked, of course, where's JC Jane and Gigi Dolan? Then we see them beating up Zoe Stark backstage, smashing her leg into a locker. Then from there, she kind of has a little chuckle. Then Io Shirai comes out there. Io Shirai says she doesn't really like Zoe Stark, but she likes Mandy Rose even less. Wants to fight her right now. Mandy Rose accepts the match and then tries to cheap shot her with the microphone. They fight a little bit. Io Shirai starts to get the upper hand, and here comes, of course, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Then Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter comes out there to even up the odds. And next week they will have a 6-woman tag team match: Io Shirai, Kaden Carter, and Casey Catanzaro versus Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction. Mandy Rose is being pushed as sort of the star of NXT. Even though she didn't wrestle on this show, she had a long segment, and it actually just set up a match for next week. So you can essentially take the first, 8 minutes of this show, maybe 10, of setting up a match that would not happen this week on the show. But there was nothing else for Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction to do. They wrestled last week. Now they need new opponents. So they took this time, 10 minutes of the show, to put Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction over. Mandy Rose really got some heat when she said there isn't a woman group, tag team, or faction that can stop them. This is, of course, what led Io Shirai to come out there. But we are in an interesting place where they're not doing the old what Raw does. You create a match, an opening segment, and then you pay it off at the end of the show. They're saying, no, we're going to pay this off next week. So I can dig that. I'm all right with that. What I was not all right with was Duke's Poker Room. I was not okay with that at all. It came in a series of segments of Duke Hudson and Cameron Grimes playing poker, and it was not very good. It was not very interesting. I don't think it really got over the Duke Hudson character. His character is supposed to be psychological in a way, where Duke Hudson sits you down at the poker table and he kind of psychoanalyzes you as you play the game. So that's really what these segments were all about. Whereas Duke Hudson trying to upset Cameron Grimes and win his money at the same time. So he's talking about how Cameron Grimes is going to strike out with the ladies, how he can't do anything right. And yet the whole time Cameron Grimes is beating him at cards. Like, this is literally the only thing Duke Hudson's character is set up for, is to win card games. And in the end, he loses all of the card games. So I was like, I don't get this. I don't understand this. So it took 3 segments for them to finish this. These segments were probably about 90 seconds a piece, maybe 2 minutes a piece. And that means that's about 6 minutes of the show. And I didn't think they really got over what we're trying to get over here. And I don't think they were effective. Didn't really need that. Okay. So I think that was a miss. It was a big miss. And there was an opportunity there to do a sort of James Bond Casino Royale style thing where there's a tense moment between the two characters. But Cameron Grimes wasn't taking the card game seriously because he's so rich that he can't really lose all his money in a card game. And Duke Hudson just repeatedly says the same thing over and over again about how Cameron Grimes is a loser. Cameron Grimes can't get a girl. Cameron Grimes doesn't know how to play cards. It's beginner's luck. He doesn't really know what he's doing. And Cameron Grimes, of course, as he learns the game, starts to just win. And then at the end, Cameron Grimes just wins and he leaves with the girls. And Duke Hudson just flips the table over. And I was just kind of like, no, this sucks. This sucked. It's certainly not on the level of Swingers Palace or some of the other segments that we've had. I get that they're trying to build Duke Hudson. Okay. But I think that a guy his size he has some charisma. I don't think it was really served very well here. It was a mess. But going back to Toxic Attraction, they ran into Dakota Kai backstage. Dakota Kai told them she didn't do this to help them. She did it to end Raquel, which of course makes sense. And we don't need a long monologue about that. Everybody who is, up on the history of NXT already knows Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, this whole thing needed to get wrapped up. So Dakota Kai goes out there and has her match with Cora Jade. She wins. Then she drags Cora Jade by her hair to the ramp. And she then places a table over her face and then considers jumping off the ring apron onto the table onto Cora Jade's face, which would have been very good. She, of course, then reconsiders it and doesn't do it. I think she's going to wish she had done it eventually. But the Dakota Kai character now has, developed a tick. And almost like, kind of crazy people have that tick to them, like the way she's shaking. It's almost like she's hearing voices or something like that. And I was like, okay, I'm not against it. I'm for Dakota Kai doing something different with her character. And the character's motivations should be different as far as her inability to win the title, her situation where she keeps backstabbing friends only to fall short. It's like she did with Tegan Nox. It's like she did with, didn't she turn on Candice LeRae too? Or it was somebody else, but it was also Raquel Gonzalez as well. So now we're going to come back with this almost deranged Dakota Kai. And I'm okay with that. I'm looking to see what she's going to really do. I don't think we needed to have a match with her. I think we could have done something else. A segment, maybe a short vignette, and then built up to her first match. But they just put Dakota Kai in the ring, man, and it's all right. Now let's get to the absolute shittiest horse shit. And I still, despite the fact that this was really bad, it was also quite funny. And I also understood why they did it. Robert Stone, who still looks like Tony Khan, challenges Zion Quinn to a fight. Then they get to the match, and Robert Stone cuts a promo where he says that Zion Quinn is just jealous of him for unknown reasons. Then says that he's going to out-sing Zion Quinn. Then he's going to whoop his ass and pin him 1, 2, 3. It was a really bad promo. Really bad. It was really bad. Like, I know he can do better than that. It was not good. Then he starts singing Frankie Monet's theme song, the Bougie Bad, Bougie Bougie Bad. And I was like, oh my God. What the fuck? Why are we doing this now? So after that's all done, I'm expecting Zion Quinn to just destroy Robert Stone. And we can all pretend Robert Stone is not a serious character anyway. It's all stupid. All right, we got it out of the way. And then Zion Quinn starts singing Shawn Michaels' Sexy Boy theme song and dancing, while also dodging attacks from Robert Stone. To one point, he even dipped Robert Stone as if they were dancing. This was traumatic to me. They have been building Zion Quinn as this sort of badass. Now, on the side to that, he has also been doing weird stuff. Like the whole thing he did with being a simp and open the doors for women and all that kind of stuff. So they're trying to show that there's different angles to this character. But him singing Shawn Michaels and dancing, it was completely jarring. It was too much. All right. It's okay to veer off away from generic Samoan badass, which, there's too many of those already. The Samoans are the closest thing to Saiyans we have in the world right now. We don't need another generic Samoan badass. I will give you that credit. I will give him credit for that. But to go that far, that fast, it seems like it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Did they destroy the character of Zion Quinn? Absolutely. But I'm not sure what the character was in the first place. So I can't be too mad at him. All I can say is it was stupid. I don't ever want to see this again. You don't ever need to do this again. No more karaoke. No more song and dance. I'm dead serious about this shit. I'm tired of people singing and dancing on wrestling shows. I'm tired of the rapping. I'm tired of singing and dancing. I'm tired of this shit, man. It's too much. It's too much of that variety show aspect to it, where somebody's got to do stand-up comedy, somebody's got to do singing and dancing, somebody's got to do interviews, somebody's got to do wrestling stuff. It's too much. It makes the show seem schizophrenic, where it feels like it's written by 400 different people, which it probably is. So I don't know. I hated this segment. I absolutely hated it. It was so traumatic. I did not even pay attention to the next match. I had to I had to rewind it a little bit, at least to get a sense to be able to do some type of analysis on the next match. But this was absolutely terrible. Zion Quinn then destroyed Robert Stone, which, of course, he could have done anyway. But they wanted to make it entertaining somehow, add different elements to the Zion Quinn character. I just don't think that this was the right thing to do, and certainly to not take up so much time with it. And I absolutely hated this. Absolutely hated it. What the fuck was going on? Now, on Twitter, there was a clip of Frankie Monet pretty upset at Robert Stone, not only for losing, but for singing her song and embarrassing her. So essentially, she quit the Robert Stone brand. She didn't even get on NXT. She didn't even get on NXT. Fuck! So I'm guessing, all right, so that's over. What's next? I don't know. Zion Quinn then ran into Elektra Lopez backstage, and she actually likes Zion Quinn, which seems to be their angle, is that he's a ladies' man. So maybe, and that would explain why he would sing Shawn Michaels' Sexy Boy, because he's a ladies' man. The weird thing about that is, I don't know if a woman like dorky guys like that. He's a handsome dude. He's ripped, but he's a dork too, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a woman. So women, if there's any listening, what are we supposed to take from this? That Elektra Lopez thinks that Zion Quinn is hot. Okay, I can dig that. But he was just out in the ring dancing and singing Sexy Boy, looking like an absolute goof. I don't know about that one, dog. I just had to throw my hands up. But Joe Gacy was very good. Joe Gacy said that this world is a cesspool. You live in a world of people where they hope others fail. And it's full of negative energy. Social media is full of negative energy where they alienate people without giving them a chance. Judge people based on their looks. They call a man a monster just because he's tall and has tattoos and has a bald head. They call him a monster. That's not inclusive. He's going to make an inclusive world. And I am all in. I am 100. I've been 100% in on Joe Gacy since the beginning. I continue to be 100% into Joe Gacy right now. He is tremendous. He is really good. He's going to build a cult. And I'm 100% in on that. I love cults. Cults are very interesting. Might have to do a video on cults one day, just because I like talking about different things. To swing back to Elektra Lopez, she waltzed Legado del Fantasma to victory over Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. This was our wrestling match of the week, where it was all just wrestling, right? There was no real character stuff involved with this. It was just wrestling. It was a showcase for Von Wagner. It was an okay match. Legado del Fantasma win, but Von Wagner's foot was on the ropes and the referee missed it. And I was more shocked that Santos Escobar wasn't there. And I was like, why is Escobar not there? You know, they didn't bother to explain why he wasn't there either. Nobody said anything about him not being there. That was weird. Hopefully it's not Elektra Lopez taking over Legado del Fantasma, because the whole thing is named after him and his family. So she just can't take it over. So we got to double back a little bit again to talk about MSK. They were sitting on benches, waiting on the bus, as they were talking about meeting an advisor, somebody who they're paying a lot of money to tell them the secrets of MSK. And Nash Carter knows this man, knows the secrets of MSK, or how the man came to learn the secrets of MSK. He starts telling the story, and then a bus pulls up in front of the camera. And by the time the bus drives off, Nash Carter has told the story. And Wesley is so excited to meet this advisor of theirs. And we, once again, are dick teased about what MSK means, what it stands for, and who's the man behind it. I like that. Okay, I don't like their characterization. They even started doing silly stuff after this, where Wesley jumped on Nash Carter's back and he was piggyback riding him across town. And I was like, you created something very interesting here with the advisor, the secret history behind MSK. What does it mean? Everybody keeps asking them what it means. I'm glad that they lost the titles, and now we're going to start doing something with them outside of being champions. They got a nice little long run. I just talked about this on Raw, actually. Give somebody a title run. You probably should do this before they become the champions, but you can do it afterwards, where you start digging into the character stuff. Start doing storylines with them outside of the title. So now they're going to have an advisor who's going to, I guess, teach them the mystic arts of MSK or whatever the fuck. And it's all right with me. I like a little bit of mystery. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm pretty sure the internet's going to try to spoil it. Hopefully it's an old manager, or it's an old wrestler who I wouldn't think too much about. And it could be fun. Somebody who can make them likable, or could straighten them out and make them a lot more serious. But they are a couple of dorks, and this was almost Forrest Gump-ish. I think that's what they were going for. But I liked the segment. You know, I thought the segment was fine. We got a promo segment from Trick and Mello, who said there ain't no more Scooby-Doo chase for the title. They back to business. That's, Andre Chase comes in. Andre Chase tells them he got their back. Somebody, whoever what's the woman's name? The announcer lady. They just have so many microphone holders in WWE. For Christ's sake, it's not like Mean Gene Okerlund, when it's just Mean Gene all the time, or Lord Alfred Hayes once or twice. It's so many different people, and they all just are empty, soulless vessels. Occasionally having a personality, like occasionally Kayla Braxton would have a personality, but there's so many people just holding microphones in NXT and in WWE. So one of them, blonde lady, says to Andre Chase he was called a coward on social media. Then of course his blood pressure goes sky high after this, and says that somebody's gonna get their ass whooped for saying that he was a coward. Andre Chase goes to the ring, says that this is a teachable moment. He's going to show people that he fears nothing. Of course, he has a student section which got bigger somehow. not only with him losing, but with him taking all those kids on a field trip and they got murdered apparently. Now there's even more kids. What the hell? How is he falling upwards? His opponent was Brian Breaker, which of course didn't go well for him, because Brian Breaker beat that ass. Gorilla Press Slam. Brian Breaker wins. Breaker then cut a promo, said that he failed in the biggest match of his life, and Tommaso Champa took advantage of his inexperience. And so he's the man in NXT right now. But they're not done. And he will beat him for the NXT title, or he's going to die trying. Which I think was an excellent promo. Excellent bounce back match. Excellent bounce back promo from Brian Breaker. That's how you do it. You give him a big loss, but you pick his momentum right back up. Andre Chase was a good opponent for him. Andre Chase was a goof. Nobody is upset that Andre Chase got beat. Nothing matters. Well, that didn't matter. But it put the spotlight back on Braun Breaker. But now we have to give him a storyline outside of the title because they pushed him so fast, mainly because he's got an it factor. But they pushed him so fast, he hasn't really had time to develop a character, develop a persona and a personality outside of, I'm Baby Steiner, and I'm going to start throwing people around. He got to be able to do more than that. You got to be able to show more than he's just Baby Steiner. So we're going to give him an opportunity to do that. Good. No problem there. Imperium cut a promo in German. Then Toxic Attraction showed up and said, asked them to watch them, which Bartel was very interested in Toxic Attraction. And yeah, I bet he was. Well, my thing is, how is this going to work out? Because Imperium are sticks in the mud, and Toxic Attraction are like close to porn. Like I know that you can be like a highly trained athlete and still have virility, but I don't see how these two stables, these two gimmicks are gonna mesh. Like I don't know if it was just they had to announce the 6-woman tag somehow, and therefore they just did it in the middle of Imperium segment, or if it's going to be Imperium and Toxic Attraction doing stuff in the future together. I don't see the purpose of that at all. I don't really see the benefit to that. But it's interesting, at least. Walter is going to have to get his boys together. They're getting kind of horny out there. But I guess when you are living like a monk, well, I'm guessing Imperium guys are monks or wrestling Nazis. They could take a break and get some poontang, right? Why not, man? Why not? Last Legend. This was a great segment. Oh, I love this. Lash Legend is terrible. Like, she's awful. Like, the whole Wendy Williams thing, the real, is awful. Them bringing that stuff to NXT is awful. The only good thing about this, Tony goddamn D'Angelo. Tony D'Angelo comes in, and Lash Legends immediately confronts him about the Mark, the missing producer. To which Mark, the missing producer, comes on set, and then Tony D'Angelo goes full intimidation. Says he talks about how nice his wife is, says his wife's name. Talks about how big his house is and all this kind of stuff, how he drives a nice car, how his 2 boys go to this very nice school. And Mark is just sitting there so uncomfortable as Tony lays it on real thick. Say hi to your boys. Say hi to your boys. Hi, boys. Tony is excellent. I love this guy. I cannot wait. Like, this is what I watch NXT for. Like, I can see the Roman Reigns and the Bianca Belairs and, the Edges and all those. I've been watching those people for years already. Sometimes I want to see people who are different, do different shit, And NXT is really good for that. Not the indie darlings who are just doing indie shit, which, this is the black and gold NXT. I'm team NXT 2.0. Even the bad stuff. I would rather have NXT be, and this is the weird thing, and I hate to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. I find it strange that people thought NXT was boring, like 6 months ago. NXT is boring. It's a boring show. It's dark. All they do is wrestle. There ain't no characters. And now they flipped it and they did almost the exact opposite. And now people are talking about it's too colorful. I don't know anybody. I don't know who any of these people are. They're all green. It's like, yeah. It's a developmental show. A developmental show shouldn't be on national TV. Yes, it should. Who cares? At this point, I don't give a shit. AEW, all of it is developmental until fucking CM Punk showed up. Fucking Kenny Omega wasn't a star in this country. Him being on TV every week as a top star was developmental. Because it was completely foreign. He ain't never done it before. Just like Tony D'Angelo ain't never been on TV before. Just because he was in the business for 10 years. He wasn't in the position that he was in before. It was completely new to him. And therefore, when he sucked, everybody's like, you got to give him a chance, man. It's like, give fucking Tony D'Angelo a chance. He's not even 30, I don't think. It's crazy how we're just going to throw all these young guys, most of whom aren't even 28. All of them are just useless, stupid, and just throw them all away. But if a fucking 38-year-old guy comes on American television for the first time, you got to give him a chance? He's been in the business 20 fucking years already. What's going on here? This is insane to me. But Tony D'Angelo rules. And this was very good. And his character he understands character work. This is what I want to see. Because I immediately started saying to myself, as he was intimidating Mark the producer in what was, quite frankly, the best segment of NXT 2.0 thus far, as he was doing that, I just kept saying to myself, he wouldn't do Braun Breaker like that. And I just kept putting it in my head, like, I cannot wait for Braun Breaker and Tony D'Angelo to do segments and stuff together. Because he cannot play that shit with Baby Steiner. And it's going to be bad for him. You know? And you started seeing, like, all of the characters, like, how could they possibly mix together? And they're keeping all of them apart so far. You know, like, there's not, like, a lot of mashing of a lot of the new characters. You know, they're mixing in some of the older ones, too, to keep all the new guys apart. But they're going to eventually have to have, you know, your Solo Sikoa and your Zion Quinns and your Tony D'Angelo's and your Braun Breakers all in the same match. Like, eventually they're going to be wrestling each other. And by that time, we will have picked favorites. We will have, you know, built up allegiances. We will actually care about them. We will actually know them. They won't just be guys in the ring doing stuff, which is what I don't want to see in wrestling. We have enough of that stuff. We got enough guys getting in the ring doing stuff to each other. We want to see characters. We want to see people get behind somebody. We want to watch people grow. That's really what I want. That's what I'm interested in. I'm very interested in that. And I'm very interested that NXT is giving us that platform. It's good stuff. I don't watch Jim Carrey expecting to see Al Pacino. So I'm not going to watch NXT and expect to see 1990s or 1980s wrestling or anything like that. I have different expectations. Sorry. So Tony D'Angelo intimidating Mark, the producer, was excellent. Great character stuff. Kaylee Ray is still breaking plates and hitting stuff with bats. I have no idea what she's doing, but she's going to be wrestling next week. I think that the heel side of the NXT women's roster is loaded. It might be a little too loaded because there are no top women. Like, there are no top girls. Like, the top girl was Raquel Gonzalez, and now she's been beaten. So now you've gone back to the well, which is, you know, old faithful Io Shirai. But, you know, where is we got the Braun Breakers and the Tony D'Angelos. We don't have a female version of that yet. So it's time to introduce that if we have it. You know, if we don't, we might have to come up with something, because we need to have a female babyface for Kaylee Ray and Dakota Kai and Mandy Rose and all of them to fight. It has to come out. You know, you need to have a female breakout star. We have a woman breakout star. We have a tag team breakout with the Creed brothers, and we got Toxic Attraction as the female tag team that's breaking out. We need a top female star, a top young female star, and I don't see it yet. You know, and it's been 2 months, maybe 3. Somebody's got to be in the Performance Center ready to break out and be the top babyface female for NXT. And that's the only thing I think this brand is really missing right now, is because you have so much Toxic Attraction, and they're actually very good, but you need to build somebody for Mandy to lose the title to, and you have a murderer's row of heels with Mandy, Gigi, JC, Kaylee Ray, Dakota Kai, you know, and some others, but you need to have that top girl there too, you know, but they don't have that yet. So it'll take time. Solo Sikoa had his first match against Jeet Rama. Jeet Rama is actually not bad. He is, I think, an Olympic wrestler from India. He was on the Superstar Spectacle. He had a match with AJ Styles, and that's actually not that bad. Here, though, he's playing job guy for Solo Sikoa, and Solo Sikoa is just third Uso. His move set is the same. He looks just like them. Body type is just like them. They didn't do a good job of making him an individual. He's just Uso. You know, he's just a single Uso. So I kind of like pitched this, had this idea that since Main Event Jay, and it was very odd that I kept saying before, what are we going to do with Jay once he was shown that he can break out from Jimmy? and that it was going to be a step back for him to go back into the tag team, which it absolutely has been. And I say, why don't we just put Sikoa in Jay's spot and let Jay be a solo act? You could have the Usos with a different brother. Why not? I don't see the purpose of doing the what they calling him, the street champion of the island. I don't see any purpose in this. But if we just introduced him as their little brother, and then you could have Jay be main event Jay Uso chasing singles titles, and this guy could be Solo Uso or whatever the fuck he want to call himself, and he can be Jimmy's tag team partner in the Usos. That would be dope for me, Unless they're going to do something, which I wanted to give him a chance. I'm still going to give him a chance. It's only his first match. I'm going to give them a chance to separate him from the rest of the Usos. But right now, he's just looking like the third Uso. And I'm just kind of like, if that's what he's going to be, essentially he's going to do the Uso splash. He's going to do the Rikishi running butt jump in the corner. He's going to do all of their moves. He should just be in the bloodline right now, and we could save this time and push somebody else. There's nothing wrong with that. But to me, why are we developing a third Uso? He already does what they do. So send him over to them, and we'll just save this time with somebody else. Briggs and Jensen had a promo, and they just tried very hard to be stereotypical manly men, the manliest of men. I'm not going to be surprised if they start kissing each other or something crazy like that. They were entirely too masculine. Briggs is talking about the only real way to eat a steak is medium rare. And playing football and beating the guy with his helmet so bad, had to drive him to the hospital himself. And about how his dad never really appreciated anything, just glad he didn't embarrass the family by being weak. And they were barbecuing and playing horseshoes. And I'm looking like, man, come on. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. They're toxic as fuck. Like the entire concept of toxic masculinity was right here in this vignette. You got two beardy young dudes drinking beer, eating steak, playing horseshoes, talking about sports, and talking about how their daddy just didn't want them to be weak. And it was just like, okay, you guys are doing a little too much. You're too heavy-handed. Like, Briggs and Jensen their dad must be Hank Hill or something like that. Like they must be standing in the alley drinking Alamos with a neighbor to go dang old every 10 seconds. There's no way this was realistic. And that's really why I didn't like it. Because it didn't feel like it was two guys hanging out, drinking beer and having fun. Two guys sitting around watching the football game, eating nachos and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of this kind of thing that I don't mind. This kind of shit, it makes it feel like they were stereotyping men. Like, we wear tight jeans with boots, plaid shirts. We're a man, such a man, such a man. Like, fuck out of here. We already know this is bullshit. And that's why I didn't like it. I didn't like this. This is the second time they've tried this whole Briggs and Jensen, I'm sorry. I keep saying Brooks. Brooks is Jensen's first name, right? Briggs and Jensen. It's the second time they tried to get over Briggs and Jensen as just being two tough, normal guys. We're just two tough, normal guys who like to drink beer and hang out. It's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you're some 1980s pro wrestler. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. For starters, your lineup is too clean. That's the first problem. If you go back to the 80s, those guys were almost never perfectly cleaned up. Like you might have the body type of like a Harley Race or somebody like that, but you don't have the aura. Harley Race could have cut this same promo. I'd have believed every moment of it, every bit, because he probably would have said it in a way with like chewing tobacco, or said it in a way with like his fingers broken, or like a twisted nose or something like that, scars on his hands, like tattoos and shit. Like it would have been a completely different visual if Harley Race had done this same promo. But it was just Briggs and Jensen who was just kind of look like, I was like, all right, man, whatever. They're trying to show us that they're real mans, real manly men. I'm just like, nah, these dudes gay. This is weird. And ain't nothing, not that there's anything wrong with that. So, Grayson Waller wrestled Boa, and Boa won the match because LA Knight got involved. LA Knight was really good on commentary. I think he better not be too good at that. Otherwise, he's going to end up with Corey Graves' job. After the match, Boa went to the locker room and Mei Ying was gone. He kneeled at Mei Ying's throne and came back up with painted face. And now he's blowing smoke. And I'm like, did he graduate? Did he finally pass his lessons and now Boa is going to be the Great Muta? Because I love me some Great Muta. I love me the Great Kabuki. You know, I'm a big fan of both of those guys. And if Boa's going to do that, thumbs up. But he's going to have to get his match quality together. You know, he's been in WWE for quite a while now, and he's still not that good. But if we're going to give him a Great Muta style character, it could work. You know, it could work. I'm interested in seeing where they go with it. I'm not so sure if I like the smoke as much as I like the mist, though. I think we should just go with mist, not smoke. You know, I know this is COVID, and maybe we don't want people spitting on each other. But go with the mist. It's always better to go with mist. And plus, Boa has been pretty plain for a long time now. And he hasn't been doing much of anything. So him just doing something different as changing his look is okay with me. I liked Boa when he looked like something out of the Matrix. He had just the sunglasses and he was just standing there in a black suit, very quiet. That was kind of cool. But if he's going to be flashy with the paint and everything, they need to just go full blown with it. That's always been my problem with WWE is they used to love going over the top on certain things, but now they tone everything down. You know, like I want to see a Sting. You know, that's what I want. I want to see like an early 90s Sting type of guy who comes out there with shimmering jackets and loud face paint color. He go, wow! And people just going, wow! Like that's what I want. You know, I don't think Boa has that kind of charisma. I don't think he could pull off being Sting. But even to a degree that somebody needs to be like an ultimate warrior that is just like out there and is loud and immediately you get attention just from being out there and doing something. That's the kind of stuff that we missing in wrestling right now. Grayson Waller losing. Outside of the 808s and his theme song, I don't know what's going on with him. He's I think he's lost in the shuffle. I think they had a general idea of what they want from him, but somehow, some way, we veered off the path. At least his theme song thumps, you know. At least that's a good thing. If your theme song is not bad, you got a good chance. But Grayson Waller has completely he lost the plot. All right, let's move on to Tommaso Champa. So Tommaso Champa gets in the ring, calls himself the God of NXT, and says that with his new position comes great responsibility and a target that has been firmly placed upon his back. And he's ready for this. This leads to Carmelo Hayes interrupting and saying that, look, you know, he said it before, he said it again. He is the A champion, and as long as he is on this brand with that title, Tommaso Ciampa is going to play second fiddle to him. And Tommaso Ciampa says, you know, he appreciated that, but then Carmelo Hayes took off those glasses and he said, I looked into your eyes and I can realize you don't believe nothing you just said. And then Trick Williams said that, no, you don't get it. We are the main event tonight. Everybody here to see us. Then boom, Tommaso Ciampa drops him. One punch. They scuffle a little bit. Tommaso bails. Then Johnny Organo comes out there. Johnny Organo and Tommaso Ciampa share a moment. And I just said to myself, we're getting 1 inch closer. Maybe more than an inch. Maybe about a foot closer to my NXT Civil War idea. If you didn't hear my NXT Civil War idea, it's pretty simple. Black and gold NXT, all the old heads like Ciampa, Gargano, Samoa Joe, all of those old heads versus all of the new guys. You know, and it'd be pretty sweet if they have each one has a title already. You know, Carmelo Hayes is going to be like the face of the new guys, even though it probably should be Braun Breaker. But Carmelo Hayes is just as good. He's going to be the face of the new guys, face of the new school, face of NXT 2.0, and he's the North American champion. While NXT, the black and gold, is represented by Tommaso Ciampa, who is the NXT champion, and he's going to be flanked with all of these guys who've been in NXT for quite a while. If that's going to be, that should be, to me, that should be our takeover theme. It should be NXT Civil War. And I really want them to do this. And I'm not under any idea that they actually will do it. I'm just saying they should. Right? I think it'll be very good for all of the new talent and for all of the older talent if the older talent got one last hurrah and they could just go out with a bang. Because part of what the problem was with NXT was there was a distinct lack of closure in some of these storylines because guys just started to leave. There was mass call-ups, then Cole left, then there was mass firings, so a bunch of people got released. And it was like, all right, slowly but surely NXT was being chipped away. Like the black and gold was just leaving, floating away. And that, I think, bothered a lot of people too. It didn't feel like it was a natural end to it and then it needed to be brought back up. It just felt like, okay, we're killing it. Therefore, we're going to fire a bunch of people. We're going to call a bunch of people up. And we're going to restock the entire roster with new faces. Which is what they did. I think you can give some closure to people who really, really liked NXT Black and Gold. And you could give them some closure by giving one last hurrah to all of those indie talents that they brought in. Now, some of them are gone, of course. Bobby Fish is gone. Adam Cole is gone. A lot of Mercedes Martinez is gone. Jonah, whatever his name is gone. A lot of those people are gone. You can't do nothing about that. But there are still people there that, represent the black and gold very well. Johnny Organo, Samoa Joe, and Tommaso Champa. You got at least 3. There's probably some more there too. And there's certainly still some girls that are still there that can represent the black and gold NXT. And they fight for a different cause, of what NXT should be. And have that battle in front of the world, Let's just put it out there what NXT should be. And have that philosophical battle out there. I think it could be fun. And I think it'd be gripping TV. I think it'd be very interesting TV. And sure, there's going to be a lot of the holdouts who are just going to be like, oh, yes, if there's a chance we can get NXT Black and Gold back, that would be great. And they will watch the show just for that. But in doing so, they will get to see some of the new talent that they've shunned, without really watching them. And then, but they'll also get to see the talent that they shunned for good reason. But it's a good plan. It's something I would do. I think if you're ever going to flip the table the way that they flip the table with NXT, you do have to give people some type of closure. I think we've seen with WCW and ECW that there's a certain market for it. Those things I don't think worked out that well. The New Blood versus the Millionaires Club didn't quite work out that well. But I like the general idea. I like the general idea of the ECW originals and the New Breed. I think we should do that again. I think that it never actually hurts to do that. And I think considering this Survivor Series, imagine if we'd have built up an episode of NXT or a takeover where it's going to be 5-on-5, 5 women from the NXT past versus 5 from NXT's future. Basically, Mandy Rose, Toxic Attraction, Dakota Kai, and somebody else, maybe Kaylee Ray, versus Io Shirai, Zoe Stark. Who else would be? It would have to be somebody who's not up on the main roster. So maybe 3 other baby faces, and that could be your match. And then you have Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker and Tony D'Angelo, and 2 other guys versus Samoa Joe, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Dexter Loomis, and some other guy as representing the Black and Gold NXT. I think that would be big. I think that could be fun. Why they wouldn't do it, wouldn't listen to me, I have no idea. But I've been talking about my nonsense too long. I still got to finish this show. So Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams defeat Johnny Gargano and Dexter Loomis. And because Trick Williams bashed Dexter Loomis in the head with a shoe, this led to Carmelo Hayes' flying leg drop finish, which I hate, by the way. Because the John Cena flying leg drop, I hate it so much. Only because you have to be in that position of being bent over for like 10 minutes while he get his muscular ass up on the top rope and do a giant leg drop. Now, Carmelo Hayes isn't carrying as much weight as Cena, but it's still just as stupid because you have to stand in that position for too long. Just give him a different move. I would like if he had like a strike finish. Like, maybe he should use Kota Ibushi's Kamigoye finish. Like, that would be sweet for him. You know, it's just a knee strike. You know, it's like, or give him something flashy from the top rope. Not a flying leg drop though. Not one when you have to cooperate and be in position forever. But something sweet. You know, like a flying lariat or something like that. Who knows? I don't know. But Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes win. Good idea. Good plan. The right move. Right guys went over. They teased a DIY reunion. I only want that if it goes into my NXT Civil War idea. I'm really pushing my own ideas here. I'm going into business for myself on this one. Only if it's in the context of these guys are going to work together to do old school rules of NXT. Am I interested in DIY ever getting in the ring together again? Other than that, I have no interest in it. Their story has been going on for far too long, and I'm over it. As far as Gargano and Champa, I don't want to see them wrestle each other. I don't really want to see them tagging each other either. To be quite honest, I think they should have been replaced with Mustache Mountain a long time ago. All right, and to be quite honest, Mustache Mountain should be in the United States by now. In any event, thank you guys for listening. NXT was a mostly okay show. There was some really fun stuff in here. Tony D'Angelo is my favorite segment in a long time. Carmelo Hayes is still continuing to grow. He's very good. He's quite good. Mandy Rose has found her stride. So has Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. They've all been very good. Looking forward to doing more with Toxic Attraction and, Brian Breaker and all of them. Hopefully we can figure out where this Zion Quinn thing is going. I get it. We don't need no more generic Samoans, but that sexy boy stuff was not the move. That was really bad. That was traumatic. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, donate if you can, and I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace.